I grew up feeling cheated out of a fair shot at life for most of my young life, beginning stages of my life. When I was 2.5 years old, my dad put a gun to his chest in our living room, a 30-06 rifle, and pulled the trigger. He was done with life at only 30 years old. And here I am, I sit here at 29 years old today, coming up on 30 in November, and I ask myself, is that enough life that I've lived? Have I lived enough life where I'm satisfied and I'm ready to go? The answer is no. But growing up, I was told many things. I was told that we'll never be rich because I wasn't born rich. I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth or a gold spoon in my mouth. And you can't have this certain thing or you can't have that certain thing just because we're not rich. We don't fall in that category. I want to tell you guys that it's not about how you're born. It's about what you do with what you have while you have it. You take what you learn as a child and, we all apply that to our lives, but as we get older, sometimes you have to realize that maybe the things that you were taught as a kid, maybe that way of thinking is wrong. Parents, we have to understand that while we're children, we're watching our parents grow up at the same time, and parents don't always have the right advice. Parents make mistakes. I've made mistakes as a parent. When I was growing up, when I got to high school, I failed the 9th grade 3 years in a row. After the first year, I felt sorry for myself. I had tried and failed at the 9th grade, and I didn't understand how I failed. I thought maybe there was a mistake. So I went to the office and told them on my schedule for the day it says grade number 9, and they said, no, this is correct. You didn't get enough credit last year. You're going to have to do the 9th grade again. So I felt sorry for myself. So the whole second year of 9th grade, I didn't try. I let my mind defeat me. I let defeat keep me down. So then I failed again. And after the third time of failing, they sent me to a special school where bad kids go and kids that don't want to go to school, because I had started skipping school and I just decided to give up. So in a last resort shot to get me to graduate, they sent me to the school where I was going half of a day. And I jumped 2 grade levels in 1 year. And during that time, when a young teenager is becoming a young man around 18 years old, my stepdad walked out on us and went to the oil field. And that affected me severely because at that age I believed that every young man needs a father. And when he walked out, I felt that structure of the family walked out. It was just my mom, and me being a young adolescent adult, I didn't feel like I needed to obey her authority. The father figure was gone. That was the authority in the house, was my stepdad. And now that he was gone, I ran over my mom. I stopped caring about school again. I ended up dropping out against everyone's wishes. My own grandpa even came to the school, who dropped out in the 8th grade, and he begged me not to drop out because he told me how hard of a life I was going to live if I did so. But I still signed the papers right in front of him. My stepdad basically gave up on me at that point in time, and I was told that I would never amount to anything. That I'd have to work a job like he did. He had dropped out of school and he was used to working 80 hours a week and working in the oil field 100+ hours in the oil field now, and he was killing himself. So he was understandably upset with me for dropping out. But I took that and I thought to myself that you're right, I'll never be anybody. So I settled in life. But then I made a decision. I had to make a change. I had to change what everyone else thought of me. I had to get in my own head and stop the negative thoughts, stop everyone else's thoughts that people were telling me I'm no good, that I can't do this, I can't do that. So I pulled my head out of the sand. I stopped feeling sorry for myself. And on June 4th, 2010, I got ordained as a pastor. A child who, growing up, was one of the most shy people in the school. I wouldn't even talk to anybody in my classroom. Now I'm preaching to 300 to 500 people. going from church to church with my church group, standing up. I joined a class called the Men of Honor to understand how to become a man. I learned chivalry and how to treat a woman, which I believe plays a huge part into the man that I am today. So I'm going from church to church and I'm preaching. I was also told that I'll never be a soldier in the army. I'll never be able to join the military because I dropped out of high school. But I also joined the military. I did 3 years of that in the Texas State Guard, the Texas Military Forces. Then I went on. People told me when I was thinking about writing a book, I said, I'm thinking about writing a book about a slave and a cowboy who fall in love in the 1800s after slavery has just ended. And everyone I ran this idea across told me, no, don't do it. That's going to be terrible. That's not going to be a good book. Do not do that. So I put it on a shelf for a year. I had written most of the book in a spiral. And people, my friends and family, told me not to do it. So I listened to them and I put it on a shelf. Then I decided to think for myself, and I wrote the first chapter online and made a YouTube video about it 2 years ago, and I got maybe 12 views, and it got a thumbs down and maybe 2 likes. And I told people that the video wasn't doing very good and nobody was really listening to it after all the work that I'd put into the first chapter, and people said, see, I told you so. You shouldn't have put that on there. You need to take it down. It's not worth it. You're just going to offend people. I put it on a shelf for another year. Then I decided, against everybody's better judgment for me, or so they thought, I'm going to start writing this chapter 2. And I'm going to continue this book, and I'm going to make videos, and I'm going to narrate it and put it on YouTube no matter what people say, and I'm just going to see where it goes. Even if it gets 5 likes and 4 views, I'm going to keep going with it because it's my story, and God put it on my heart, and I'm going to write this book no matter what. So I began to write. I began to write. Chapter after chapter. My YouTube channel began to grow. One of my videos went viral, and I hit over 10,000 subscribers in just 30 days. Then I went up to 17,000, 18,000, 19,000. Then we got up to 21,700. My book took off. People were hooked by my story. People that never imagined a book like this would be written was written. And people have bought my book. After people told me, you're a high school dropout, you'll never amount to anything, you can't be a pastor, you can't be a soldier, you can't be a writer. I went on to self-publish that book, and now it's for sale on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and a few others. Now we're working on chapter 2. People love my book. Don't you ever let somebody tell you what you can be in life, what you can't be. You make that decision on your own. You've got to think for yourself, because the moment that you start telling people what you want to do, they're going to start telling you what you can't be. They're going to start telling you what you can't become. And even then, your brain is going to tell you what you can't be. The moment that you get a vision and you start seeing yourself in your imagination being successful, here comes your negative thoughts. Here comes doubt, following you around like a black dog, shadowing your thoughts. And it's going to try to reign in your mind and tell you you can't have this, you can't become this, you can't be successful because your family's not successful. Your own family will be the main ones who tell you you can't do this, you can't achieve this. And then it'll be your closest friends. They'll tell you you can't make this happen. You don't have the skill, you don't have the degree, you don't have the diploma, you didn't finish school, you didn't do good in school. Let me tell you something. I flunked algebra. I was the worst at math. Math was my absolute worst subject. And I had people sitting next to me that were making straight A's in that class. Fast forward 5-10 years down the road, some of those people that were sitting right next to me doing better than me work for me now and have worked for me. And I'm teaching them math that they didn't even know on how to build houses. So what am I saying? Don't ever let anyone cap your mind. Don't ever let anybody tell you who you can't be. You show them who you're going to be. And it's even better to move in silence. You want to become something, you set your mind to it and you make it happen. You get up every day and find one thing that you want to do. Because sometimes we write it off as lazy, but sometimes our mind is so cluttered with all this stuff that we want to do. We want to do 1,000 things. We want 1,000 things to happen all at once. So we get so overwhelmed that we don't know what to choose. We don't know what to start on. You've got to single out one thing at a time and then put all your focus on that one thing and mark it off your list. People said, you post that video about you liking black women and nobody's going to like it. People will make fun of you for doing that. Don't put that video out there. Nobody cares. Nobody cares to hear what you think about black women and how you think they're beautiful and how you think they're valuable. Don't put that video up. You're going to look like an idiot. I went against what they said. It's hit over 500,000 views. You've got to go against the grain. Nobody ever said the road to success was going to be easy. As soon as you make the decision to be successful, the storm is going to come. People told me that I would never own my own construction business. I started it when I was 23 years old. I'm 29 now, going on 30, and I'm still working for myself. I have built things that I myself could not imagine that I would build someday. This high school dropout who failed 3 times in the 9th grade went on to create jobs for people. People that were making fun of me in school, saying I would never be anything. There's people coming back to me, apologizing to me, asking for a job, saying, how did you build this? Can you teach me how to do this? And I gladly say yes. I hold no resentment against them or grudges, because it's great when your enemies see how good you're doing and they know that they messed up. Education does not limit your success in life. Please understand that as well. God has given each and every one of us a gift. Every person that is born has a gift. You just have to figure out what that gift is and do that thing. See, I could have decided to be an average Joe and stay at my 9-to-5 job making $8 an hour, but one thing was going to be for certain. I would never make more than $8 an hour. Forever. And owning your own business is not easy. Sometimes you make good money and sometimes you don't make anything at all. But there's a guarantee in owning your own business too. The guarantee is there's no limit to how much money you can make. I could have stayed at $8 an hour for the next 20 years, and that's as good as it would get. I would top out at that. Or I could dare to dream for bigger and ask God for more, and ask God for as much as He could possibly give me, and He could make me into a millionaire. If you're thinking about starting your own business, do it. It's worth a shot. But you have to mentally prepare first. It's not easy. Most people fail within the first 3 years. They give up. I have failed so many times in construction, it's not even funny. I've had my whole crew, entire crew, walk off the job and leave me alone to build. And me get sued, me get fired. Me get threatened with being sued, asking where's your crew at? Why is it just you here? And I've had to finish jobs alone. I've had friends steal all the tools I have, go behind my back, do me wrong, take jobs from me, talking to the homeowners, sabotage my jobs. Walk off on me right now. I'm going through the same thing again. Lost my whole crew this week. I'll have to start over from scratch, but I am not giving up. You don't quit. One thing is for sure, if you keep running your race, you are going to be successful. I don't care how hard it gets. I don't care how hard it is raining. You keep moving. If you keep moving, God is going to open the windows of heaven and bless you for being a conqueror, being more than a conqueror, being an endurer. Endure the storms and He will bless you. That's a promise. That is a guarantee. Keep asking Him. Keep dreaming. The poorest man on earth is not a man without a nickel. It's the one without a dream. And don't just chase your dreams. Manifest your dreams. If you are wanting something in life, it's because that one thing that you're wanting wants you. Dwell on that. Dwell on that success, and He will bring it to you. You want this thing because God's already put it in your heart. From the foundations of time, He knew that you would want this, so He made this thing want you. You want it because it's for you. If you want it and it's good and it's noble and it's moral, then it's for you. As soon as you pray, He ships your prayer. He ships your gift, your answer. The hard part is waiting. We don't know when that answer to that prayer is going to show up, but you can be guaranteed. If it's right, it's moral, it's noble, it's in the mail. It's coming from heaven. You just got to keep pushing. Keep pushing. Don't ever quit. I am living proof that you can be whatever you want to be. I'm not exactly where I want to be right now. I'm still struggling, but I'm doing it on my own. I'm running my own company still after 6 years. I've become a pastor of a church. I baptized my grandpa, my cousins, my friends, people in school. I went from being the shyest kid in school, and God turned that around. He turned my whole life upside down. I didn't even know where He was going to take me. I never knew that I was going to be a preacher. He made me into a soldier. He made me into a YouTuber, a content creator. He made me into an author of what will now soon be 2 books. He made me into a construction company owner. He's let me build mansions before. And I don't say this to brag about who I am, but I say it to show you who God can make you into be. There is no limit. A flea, one of the smallest insects on earth, can jump at a vertical of 36 inches in the air. 36 inches is what it's born with. But if you take that flea and you put it in a mayonnaise jar and put the lid on it, it's going to bounce and bounce and bounce, and it's going to hit its head. Then it's going to revitalize itself and make it to where next time it jumps, it doesn't get knocked in the head anymore. It adjusts to its environment. So it has to lower itself, lower its potential to adjust to its environment. You put another flea in there. You put 5 or 6 fleas in there. They're going to jump, 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 hit their head so many times, they're going to give up jumping that high. Because there's a cap on top of them. So they adjust to their environment. Those fleas have babies. The new babies, even though their potential is to jump 36 inches vertical, that's what they're born with, that potential. They can do that. But all they know is what they're seeing their mom and dad do, their cousins, their brothers, aunts, uncles. They know that they're not jumping that high, so they learn from the environment that they're born in, and they don't try to jump that high. There's a cap on top of them. Is there a cap on top of your life? Take that cap off of your mayonnaise jar and jump. Shoot for the stars. Just because your aunts, cousins, brothers, mom, dad, uncles, nephews, nieces aren't doing this, just because they're not jumping that high and trying to be that successful, don't get stuck by your environment. Don't be limited by the environment you grew up in. I didn't grow up in a rich family. I grew up from people who work hard and work long hours that dropped out of high school. And when I did the same, I was told by that same family that I'll be the same as them forever. I'll never be rich. I'll never amount to anything, but I proved them wrong. If you've got family members that are telling you you can't do this, you prove them wrong, and you prove it to yourself, more importantly, that you can. And you be a motivation for other people. But don't you ever quit. And remember this. Just like I'm a carpenter and I read blueprints, every person that is born in life, whether you're rich, you're poor, you're in a house, you're in a shed, or you're on the streets, you are all born with the same potential. You are all born with the same blueprint. God makes a blueprint for your life the moment that you are conceived. He has a blueprint for you for success. And it's laid out in front of us when we become adults. Regardless of how bad your childhood was, regardless of whether you grew up poor or rich, When we become adults, we have every opportunity to become somebody. That blueprint is laid out in front of us, and he says, here are the plans I have for your life. I've given you everything you need. All you have to do is pick up the hammer and begin to build your dreams.